Jessup.
All right. Good afternoon. Good morning, everybody. I'm Vice Forecaster JD Rapp with you in the USA Severe Weather Network Center. I got Isaac Schaff here, forecaster Isaac Schaff, with us this morning. We're tracking this potentially line of thunderstorms that can impact Alabama and parts of the Florida area today too. This has been producing a few damage and tornadoes, and I'm going to turn things over to you, Isaac, first.
Okay, definitely. So you have my screen shared.
Yeah,
first of
I'll
all,
share it right now.
We got. Okay, yeah, sure. So I'm gonna. So we got this particular Boeing segment that we've been watching for this structure that's been holding together for quite some time. This line that will be eventually tracking into the Jessup towards the Waycross area here. So I'm going to pull out my inspector tool here, the winds that are in place here. We'll definitely talk about the environment that storms will likely be tracking into, but I think this is really the concerning development that we're keeping a close eye on. Again, these are winds several thousand feet off the ground there, about 72 miles per hour. And you can see that Boeing segment will likely be tracking into the Jessup and Waycross area, but again, still concerned across for areas in the east coast of Georgia as well. And looks like, I think that's a tornado warning polygon. Looks like we do have a little bit of gate-to-gate shear to work with.
All right,
here.
we have to switch gears.
Yeah, so I mean,
we got a tornado warning, folks.
Alma, you got a little bit of inflow, and I think you can see a little bit of a hook within there. So I think that's where you're likely getting some coupling in with the ground with that particular cell east of Alma, and going to see what the basis of that warning there in Bacon County, Georgia. Just it's capable. Nothing has been officially confirmed at this point, but you can see definitely some high reflectivity there on the radar. So more than likely, you're definitely working with quite a bit of wind shear here. Yeah, 20 against 4, or like, yeah, I was going to say that's pretty much 30 to embedded 40 knot wind shear that you're likely seeing with that couplet. Again, I'm just saying maybe it's still a little broad wind shear that you're likely seeing, but it's been definitely tightening up these past few scans. So definitely for folks in the Jessup area, again, a lot of rural areas within this particular warning. So, but I would still point out if that does tighten up, I would say Serenity, Autumn, and the Jessup should still keep this, but still kind of talking more of a broad situation there. You can see that particular structure all kind of highlighted right there. You can see that's where we've been likely seeing some of the really, we got plenty of wind reports with that particular cluster. You can see we've been getting some spotter reports, and this one's showing the NPing report there. Some wind damage has been indicated with this particular Boeing cluster, and we've been following it on radar for some time. And we've had a couple tornado reports in nothing official, official yet, but one warning there in Blakely County earlier in the morning did highlight a confirmed tornado. I think something was likely radar confirmed. But yes, we've been following this for some time, and I think we've seen some really impressive radar signatures throughout the morning with that. But I'm going to turn my attention now to some of these areas in the Florida Panhandle. You can see the southern flank of all this.
Yeah, so I'm just going to tell you we got a new storm. We got a new storm tighten up. Look at that. We got a new
you can see
storm tighten up again.
All right. Yeah, you can see the southern flank of this line here from about Dothan, Georgia, well into the Florida Panhandle. You can see there's plenty. You can see some developing thunderstorms down again from Tallahassee down to Mobile. You can see several different cells here that might be starting to tighten up. I think you're referencing that storm there north of Tallahassee. Yeah, I was going to say, I think you got
I was just going to
plenty of
give you some
uphill growth
information.
with these.
Well, I'm concerned with this
Yeah.
one thunderstorm over here. It's showing 3-inch hail with it. That's the size of the hail, folks. That is very large.
Is that from the per NWS, or is that just your radar app that's telling you that?
No, that's just showing me. This is just on GR level 3. This is just shows the hail size of it, you know. And this storm has
Okay.
potentially a rotation with it because it has that marker, the pink one. And I'll just show you. Look
Yeah,
at
I
there,
mean,
red next to green. That's gate sheared.
yeah, there's plenty
I
of
won't be
gate to gate
surprised
shear
if
to
we see
work
another
with.
tornado warning.
So, I mean, we'll see how, if it does tighten up with these next couple of scans, that'll definitely tell us. I got to try and get the better view here.
All right,
Apparently,
we
the place file.
got reports of north part of the Atchison counties area. Multiple trees have been knocked down. Emergency
Yeah, we've
manner.
been getting plenty of wind damage reports along this particular line. And yeah, I was going to say, yeah, Atkinson. I think from Albany all the way down to Atkinson.
Yeah, if you're in this
Just over the
tornado warning,
past.
folks, you need to be taking cover now.
Okay, yeah. There's probably not too many people joining us live from Bacon County proper, but there's a lot of people, a broader population zone that we should definitely keep a very close eye on here across the panhandle of Florida into obviously you get this Boeing sector, this structure, these structures that we've been watching there well into southeast Georgia. This will be approaching the coastal water, the coastal regions here from Brunswick into that would be right down to Brunswick. A lot of these coastal areas should definitely keep a very close eye on this particular structure, this particular cluster of storms. You got definitely an intense Boeing segment indicated in there, and the National Weather Service is indicating 70-mile-per-hour gusts at times along this line. And again, some tight low-level shear with that cell in Bacon County. But I've been really paying attention to the southern flank of this well, and I think this is what you were talking about earlier, what you're seeing. You got some really intense updraft. You got the mesocyclone that you're working with. A lot of that, again, a lot of saturated air within there. So you're seeing some high reflectivity there. So I think you got a little bit of a hail core with that particular cell. But again, it is tracking into an environment where I think there's a little bit more wind shear. We'll see if it does hold together. But yes, according to the National Weather Service, at least 2-inch hail with that particular hail core. But again, I will point out there's still some broad rotation with that. I mean, I'm going to download some of the earlier scans here, see if this is tightening up. More than likely here, I'm still trying to fetch earlier data here. Yeah, I think the rotation's not necessarily tightening up, but I still would say that
that's good.
You still got some broad rotation. That a new scan here. Check this out. Now we're getting some really high reflectivity rates with that. So I think you got a broader hail core with that. Just comparing it to the last scan that we've gotten. So you can see a broader hail core. I think you may get some really intense hail potentially with this, and over 2 inches in diameter, possibly. Maybe a localized hail. Just it depends on how much saturated air you've been getting with that updraft. Maybe some isolated hail over 2 inches in diameter. Maybe localized up to tennis ball if we get something like that. But again, mostly the concern is for 2-inch hail with that. But again, also for all these other storms, you got plenty of a lot of these cells that are out here towards, again, the western panhandle of Florida, you can definitely tell that this one has developed a little bit of a mesocyclone there near Defuniak Springs in Walton County. We've been following this from Okaloosa County. Some of these storms look like they're in the training environment. You see that frontal convection there is lifting north. So you want that's lifting north, and behind we're watching all that instability and all that further downstream on the tail end of that flank. And again, we've had a couple of reports here of hail upwards of golf ball size with this particular. So I will point out for the storms that are developing further downstream, you are working with plenty of those. What we mean by that, that's where the temperature change with altitude. So that's where, and again, you get some more saturated air. You know that warm air rises, so it rises where it's much colder, and you eventually you get to the point where there's a dendritic hail growth zone. That's where it's below 0 degrees Celsius, 2 degrees Fahrenheit. You know, that's the freezing point of water.
Yeah, we just got a report of quarter-size hail.
It's like really tight, like below 10 Celsius. Yeah, and again, like I said, you get saturated air within there. Within that updraft, that's where you're likely seeing that hail develop. And when we're high reflectivity values, and I will point that out with this particular cell, watching here we've had definitely an intense hail core with that. Or I'm going to go to
we got a hail report
right
coming
here.
in now.
You can see
hail has been reported. Quarter-size hail was reported between Wilsonville and Nicholas. Hail was reported. A quarter-size hail between Wilsonville and Nicholas and Anderson Road.
Okay.
Anderson Road.
Okay, and again, is this in with this particular cell in Florida? Again, nothing that I've gotten yet.
It's up here, but it's kind of close to the tornado warning here. I'll show you. Look.
Oh, okay.
It's this one over here. I'll point it to you.
Deeper lapse rates work up here. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, we got this storm over here I'm kind of concerned about. Yeah. This is the one that's producing up to 2-inch hail. That's what the showing. And I'll pull up the potentially my little hail ins, and it's the load here. Look at the hail, Isaac. This is some big, large hail.
Yeah, I was going to say, well, that, again, the VIL product, that is not showing saturated air, the column of air that's saturated within that updraft. And you can definitely tell there's quite a bit. You got some definitely significant returns. You're likely seeing hail, definitely an intel core with that, where you're getting, obviously, you can see that mesocyclone there. You got a little bit of an inflow notch that might be forming there north of Havana. So what I will point out is that looks like you may get some weak rotation with that particular cell at times as well, which I think the storms that are developing further into Florida, the Florida Panhandle.
I've been watching that cell a lot.
The rest of the Florida Panhandle, do take note. Do take note, because I think the storms are still tracking into that environment there, where you're getting some really steep lapse rates, and I think that you'll
Isaac,
likely
I'm starting
end up
to get
with
some rotation again.
Risk for. Yeah, definitely looks.
I'm starting to get a little rotation again.
Tightening up at times.
I'll show you why. Here, I'll show you why. Because this little spot right there is an indication of rotation right there.
Yeah, you can see. I have it pulled up. See the rotation that I'm looking at there. You nasty hail core there east of Atapulcos, however it's pronounced there, approaching Highway 262. But you can see, I'm kind of highlighting it with my cursor there. It's the rotation appears broad with it, but you can still you can still see you got some really strong outbound winds, like still out in here. So I mean, if anything, you may have some broad rotation within there. Will not rule out the possibility of something spinning up. You never know.
New
However, I
tornado
will
watch, Isaac.
point out. Yeah, I was going to say new tornado watch. Would that
I
be
think the 3 o'clock.
further down the convective line in Alabama or anything?
Well,
I got to pull up the
I just got a message here from my. I just got a message from my phone from Wetterbug, and that's what they showed to 3 o'clock. Maybe I just got an update from the Storm Protection Center too. I'm just waiting on their update.
Oh, yeah, I was going to say.
Oh yeah, new tornado watch is 6 p.m. tonight.
Yeah, this is 6 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. And I will point out this is the area that they've issued it about an hour ago. But again, it's following that particular cluster of storms. And again, this is the same tornado watch that's been around. But you can see the tornado warning for Bacon, Georgia, has been dropped. But I will point out, you can definitely note the structure with this particular storm, these storms there. Yeah, I was going to say there's that 1-inch hail report. You definitely have steep lapse rates to work with.
Yeah, I just got a video.
If you can,
I got a tornado video in.
You got a really massive. Was it posted to the group?
No, it was posted on Facebook. It's something that James Spann got this morning in Georgia of a rain-wrapped tornado. I sent it to your messenger, so maybe you can share it with the live feed, so you can show people what we're seeing. It's in Houston County, Alabama.
Houston County, Alabama. Yeah, I was going to say it's probably with this same line of storms. We've had a couple of tornado reports earlier in the course of the morning, but definitely note. Just kind of switching things, what we're seeing right now. Again, do take note from, this is the same line of storms that had a history of producing tornado reports, and definitely quite a bit of damaging wind reports nevertheless. And again,
yeah, I'm getting
what
more
we're
pictures on Facebook.
Is,
pictures on Facebook of trees on houses.
Okay, yeah, we'll get there. Yeah, I was going to say, some indication there, I think further down where they have the severe warning now from Jessup down, parts of Wayne County, of course, Bacon County, Pierce County. This is where we're seeing, you can see the strong winds that we're seeing aloft, and they're definitely mixing in at the ground. You get those gusts that may be in excess of 60 to 70 miles per hour along this structure there, and you can what I'm seeing on reflectivity there. Note the red. Obviously, that's you may associate the red color with heavy rain, but when we're seeing 60 decibels, that is likely you get a strong downdraft. You're getting strong downdrafts within there, super cool air, strong gusts mixing in within there. So that's also something that I look for when looking at this reflectivity. But also, I'm more concerned about the developing storms down here, of course. Again, this looks like I was going to say some rotation that might be starting to tighten up at times here with that particular cell, and that will be moving into the southern southwest part of Georgia there into Grady County, into this will likely be moving into the Thomasville area fairly soon. But I will also point out we're all the convective development there, well into Mississippi, even sections of Louisiana. While that is not necessarily severe, I'm going to pull up mesoanalysis here and I'll see how things are handling here.
Yeah, just getting some reports of flooding on.
So
I'm gonna pass some reports along. Flash flooding occurring on Valley Road from 90 to Stillwell and Road. It's closed due to water.
All right, so not everyone knows specifically where those roads are, because again, that is those are local developments there. But I'm kind of pointing like the broad picture here. You see that line of storms there that's really been holding together there. History of plenty of wind reports. I think we're likely seeing. I think there's not as steep in terms of the lapse rates up here. So I think, or at least the instability further aloft is, you can see the mixed layer cape that I have pulled up. There's basically not really anything up here. A lot of what we're seeing up there, a little bit of, I think this is more shear driven, where you're seeing some, so the line kind of further up here is starting to kind of starting to fall apart compared to what we've been seeing on radar this morning, with all this particular structure up here. So it's not as really intense of a bowing segment. So likely what we're seeing there is occasional gusts, 60 to 70 in that neighborhood. That will be a concern here heading into the coastal areas. But more than likely, again, so with that particular, I think the severe threat will eventually diminish as this approaches the coast, but still be alert for occasional gusty winds up here across sections of Georgia. And I have the mixed layer instability pulled up. You can definitely tell that we have much stronger instability going up, or that's billowing up here over sections of Mississippi and Alabama, of course, into the Florida Panhandle. You're seeing a lot of healthy updrafts being shown with this. So I think you got more of a healthy and mature severe risk up here, or down here rather, in the sections of Florida. And the mid-level lapse rates here are concerning, or more the low-level lapse rates there, but still I think the 3 to 6 kilometer layer at the very least, they're getting around 6 to 7. The lapse rates here across these. I was going to say still very healthy. Again, the lapses aren't necessarily that steep, but there's still you get some very strong instability. It's not the lapse rates that's likely driving the hail risk on its own, but also the mixed layer instability that we're just seeing there. Again, again, you're seeing a lot of saturated air with that, and just the warm air that you're working with there, just along there, the mixed layer cape. You're getting lots of upscale growth with all that, and I think really this is more instability driven here. The severe risk kind of developing over here in across this particular area, and this is, and I will point out the over the next couple of hours, you can definitely note the storms that are developing. Obviously, there's not really much of anything going on there in like Louisiana or Mississippi now, but over the course of the next couple of hours, heading into late afternoon, potentially, you can see the axis of all that. Those storms that are lifting, we will have another round of storms to work with as well. You do have some thunderstorms with that up into the Tennessee Valley as well. So a couple of storms, the cluster of storms, some multi-cell clusters within there. More than likely, when you get a more clustered mode, you get some semi-discrete storms within there. That's definitely where you'd watch for some severe risk, but nothing that's like fairly discrete. I think you're getting more of a wind threat, maybe a risk for hail, heading in with those storms here later in the day as well. But I will also point out the risk of tornadoes is probably is most definitely still going to be there over the course of the afternoon. Just factoring in all the
Yep,
wind
I
shear
think so too.
that we've been seeing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and again, just you can see it's.
Yeah.
I think this will be a weaker round of storms here heading into the later in the day, of course. But I think you still got. I mean, if anything, more of an isolated potential of seeing tornadoes with that. But that cluster of storms over North Alabama, probably southern parts, and definitely mid Tennessee. I think the highest severe risk will be closer to the Tennessee Valley. If anything, maybe some isolated wind damage and potential for maybe some large hail. But again, the tornado risk is low. Once again, but I think the more healthy line of storms over Florida definitely bears watching here over the next several hours. Again, where we're likely seeing all the healthy wind shear and everything that's you're getting a lot of coupling in with those really steep lapse rates. And I mean, I'm going to kind of reanalyze kind of that same line of storms here further across like the Tennessee Valley and such. See if we're coupling in maybe some higher, maybe a little bit higher on the lapse rates and mixed layer instability. More than likely, maybe some localized large hail. You're getting, I think, closer to the North Alabama, the Tennessee Valley, of course. I think that's where your lapse rates are definitely going to be steepest here. So I think maybe a concern for maybe some window of opportunity for storms to get some large hail potentially. And I think definitely along that short wave, that shortwave trough. I don't know how much convergence you'll get with it, but more than likely, when you do see large hail, there's definitely quite a bit of lift and such to work with. But again, I think the severe potential further north you get of like Birmingham and such will be low. And again, I would definitely be more concerned across South Alabama, South Georgia, and the Panhandle over the course of the next several hours. Of course, heading into 6 p.m. Eastern time, and again, right now it is 12:35 Eastern. I think, obviously you get into a section of the Panhandle that's in the Central Time Zone. Obviously, over the course of the afternoon, I would expect.
We got a strong thunderstorm over here again. It's producing, starting to look at the hail marker again, and it's showing up to 3 inches again.
Yeah, I mean, definitely this is where we're working with all those steeper lapse rates. You got that intense, that nasty hail core. Obviously, they got Thomasville proper not warned yet, but obviously southern Georgia. Still, I was going to say you got a really nasty, intense updraft
Here's
that
my
you're
radar,
likely working with. All right, and again, like the southern flank got a little bit of a hook developing there in towards the state line. Something that I mean, doesn't really look
that'll
like
be a supercell, right?
Yeah, we'll see if it does tighten up over these next few scans. We'll have to pay attention to that most certainly as that evolves.
So, folks, this is a very strong sail, and it's capable. If we don't even see a tornado, Isaac, this is producing some up to damage and straight line winds up to 70 miles per hour, and that's still enough to cause some damage.
Right.
Now it's down to the hail size up to 2.75 now.
Yeah, I was going to say the warning, the basis of the warning, the National Weather Service, they're not saying that we are expecting baseball-sized hail with this, of course. But I will point out, I think with that particular hail core, that will be likely along just south of Thomasville here fairly soon. You definitely have quite a bit of lightning here.
If you're in
Indication is
Thomasville, I should be.
once,
If you live in Thomasville,
yeah, I mean,
you
just
should get
being in
away
a
from the
tight building.
windows.
Yeah, and once again, likely seeing hail in excess, upwards, maybe over 2 inches in diameter at times, and that's exactly what the National Weather Service is indicating. And the wind gusts that might be approaching 60 miles per hour. You got, I think, the southern flank of that's where you're likely seeing the more intense gusts, kind of where the higher reflectivity and velocity indications are. But once again, I'm going to kind of, obviously, since there's not really much else going on, I'm going to kind of highlight the region that's in this tornado watch. Again, the possibility of tornadoes is there, especially along the southern flank of that line where there's still plenty of instability to work with. Not as much instability well up in here. If anything, it's surface-based instability that you might still be working with. And again, you may expect maybe a spin up or two and some potential for localized gusts 60 to 70 along that structure. And again, we've been following that particular system well out in here. Still, I think the structure has really held together. Might be slightly weakening, but still, I do expect a severe risk to persist here into sections of the coastal areas of Georgia. So I'd be alert down there, but mostly down in here. I think that's where you're working with the steeper lapse rates, mixed layer cape, and if anything, that will tie into what you're seeing at the surface as well. So I mean, definitely be alert for maybe obviously reports of well over 2-inch hail at times. Well, I'm just saying more localized where you see the largest hail, but again, maybe a tornado or two possible, especially over the southern flank of that all this. And again, we're seeing some fairly strong winds aloft, and again, where you're seeing those strong downdrafts, you will get localized. Probably with the more intense storms, some gusts 60 to in the neighborhood of 60 to 70 miles per hour. That will likely cause damage to trees and power lines, and also
so charge up your devices today.
Hail. Again, I would keep your keep your cars parked under carports or garages to avoid hail damage. With some of these more intense storms, and also I would just be alert to warnings. There is that possibility of a couple of brief tornadoes along this line as well. So I'd be alert. They can spin up without warning. So it's definitely even if you're in a severe thunderstorm warning for at least 70 mile per hour gusts, get away from the exterior part of your house. And close.
I mean, just get away from windows, folks.
Safe place.
Because we could have today's environment today, where trees could go down easy, and if you're in that warning in that one spot, and the tree would come on top of you, it could injure you, and we don't want no injuries.
Yeah, definitely. And we've had a couple of reports of injuries from trees falling down.
From mobile
homes. Maybe some injuries from flying debris at times as well. Because again, it's like to avoid personal injury and stuff. It's always good to not be on the upper floors of your home or anything that's close to the exterior part of your house, especially near the roof, because if you get large trees or anything that could become flying debris onto your house, that will likely lead to some form of damage. And don't be outside when there's strong or severe weather approaching, because again, anything that becomes flying debris, like like 2x4s or large tree branches, they fall on you, you'll likely,
All right, Isaac. I
get
just checked the
severe
Storm
injury.
Protection Center. No more 10%. No more. No more 10% hatched area right now. They took that out.
Is there a new day one outlook? Is it just slight, or are they retaining the enhanced?
They still have the enhanced there, but the tornado 10% is done. They just kept it in 5 and 2%.
Okay, yeah, I was going to say the tornado risk. I think the risk for a stronger tornado has diminished, but maybe be alert for a couple of brief spin ups, and that's why they still have the tornado
And they
watch.
took the hatched area out for hail too. They got the
Yeah, I was going to
30%
say
for hail.
yeah, the potential for hail is still 30%. So I mean, you will likely see hail, but it probably won't. The probability of seeing well over 2 inch in diameter hail, probably like again, like I pointed out, you're coupling in with those steeper lapse rates, and you get plenty of saturated air within. Just you're and plenty of mixed layer instability. I think the lapse rates are kind of declining a bit. Just saying, when they're declining, I think that the temperature profiles are kind of, they're not as favorable for like really intense hail by any means, but I still think you will likely see hail in the 1 inch in diameter range to 2 inch in diameter range.
Yeah, that's what.
Maybe some ping pongs, golf balls localized, but mostly upwards a quarter size, or maybe a little bit more with some of these stronger storms, definitely. But I do think the damaging wind risk is also pretty good, because you got those strong winds that are dry. That is, just along this convective line, you got some really strong winds aloft. Obviously, we're getting new warnings that have been popping up, mostly on the account just along that structure, and we just had one warning dropped over there as well. But again, mostly talking about damaging winds, maybe some localized large, again, instances where you're likely going to end up seeing some large hail, maybe quarters up to golf balls at times, but I wouldn't expect really anything larger than that. But we will likely see that next line of storms. I'd just be alert over the next couple hours in South Alabama, the Panhandle, and Georgia as well. We have another round of storms that may lift into the region there. But I wouldn't expect with this particular round heading later in the afternoon hours. Don't expect a major tornado concern necessarily, but do definitely expect that we may see a couple of instances where you'll likely see damaging gusts, and I still think the hail risk is there. But again, just have a plan for.
But we're not going to roll a
if
tornado out. But I think the hail and wind are going to be the biggest concern.
Yeah, sure. And
All
again,
right, we just got a new severe thunder warning just got put in right now.
Yeah. Just we'll definitely keep tabs with it. I think the damaging winds and hail will still be a concern. I don't really think we're going to see much of an impressive risk for tornadoes, especially along. I think the structure it's been holding together, but I think the mixed layer cape is kind of on the steeper lapse rates are on somewhat of a slight decline with that. So I don't really think we're going to be ending up with a more substantial severe risk like well into the afternoon and evening hours, but still be alert for potential for severe storms, more localized concern for damaging with this next round of storms. And also be alert for flash flooding as well, because a lot of these storms have been training over the same areas. And I was going to say, I'm going to look at the rainfall with this as well.
That's going to be a problem.
Before we go anywhere.
I'll switch it here. I got rain. I'll put the hour rainfall totals.
Yeah, I was going to say hourly totals, upwards of 3 inches per hour in some spots. And again, likely some training, especially over the lower, over some of the hilly terrain, and especially near some of these some of these low spots. That's some of those terrains around, and also near streams and creeks and such. I think that's where you may end up seeing some runoff, and we'll keep an eye out for flash flooding reports as well. Definitely your best bet. Don't be traveling where there's intense heavy rain, just avoid flooded areas, of course. And again, just be alert to warnings, have a way to receive information. We'll definitely keep a close eye on things. I'm going to turn things over to you, JD. I got something to do around here, but yes, we'll definitely be safe. You take care, everyone, and we'll see you soon.
All right, thank you, Isaac. We're continuing to watch these storms, and we'll be here. I'll be here all afternoon tracking for you if there's any severe thunderstorm or even tornado warnings. But this storm still gives me signs of potentially of a little rotation every now and then. Don't expect a long track tornado with this situation, but there's a little spin there. There's a little some gusty wind. This is a severe thunderstorm warning in effect at 1 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time. Mainly impact's going to be 2 inch hail. So, folks, this is enough to injure somebody. So, this is incredible hail. And remember, if you see flooding today, I mean, just turn around. It's not worth it to go through some flooding. And I'm just getting lots of reports of flash flooding, new storms are getting formed. But I think in parts of Alabama, like Isaac said, the atmosphere is going to be recovered, and we do got a new storm over here. Has a little marker that could have a little rotation right over here, but this new severe thunderstorm warning with 2 inch hail, we'll have to see if this keeps tightening up. If this tightens up more like this could be our new tornado warning, and we would definitely have to watch that. So right now, the storm still has quarter-size hail up the storm and 60 miles of wind gusts with it. So we got storms over here in the East Coast out here. These could be producing some damage in straight line winds and some penny-sized hail. And don't take the winds as a joke and think, well, just don't wait on tornado wind. The winds can be some deadly winds up to 60, 70. Even straight line winds can be worse than a tornado. And we'll check the hail with these. Very low, but yeah, look at this. Gosh. There's probably some pretty large hail of any of these storms today, especially this one over here by Tulsa area down here. This storm it still looks like it could produce up to 2.5 inches of hail, and that's enough to still cause some significant damage. So right now, we're not having any damage coming in or anything like that. I said wouldn't let your guard down, folks. I mean, we're content. I'm going to be here watching the radar today. If we do go under a tornado warning, we will automatically break right back in because it's kind of the rule around here. We will stay on the air as we have tornado warnings. We still have a tornado watch until 6 o'clock this evening. So I do think we could see possibly damaging straight line winds, maybe some hail today. But the tornado threat, I still think we'll see a few more tornado warnings. So we will continue to keep you updated. We will keep you updated through the afternoon. I will break right back in if we need to. For right now, I'm Vice Forecaster JD Rapp with you. We will continue to keep you updated.